Television gave us faces we trusted, voices that lived inside our homes, characters that felt like family. And then one morning the news came, and for a moment, the whole world stopped. Today, we talk about 10 TV stars whose sudden deaths no one saw coming. Let's begin. 1. Robin Williams. Some people are born to make the world laugh. Robin Williams was one of them. Mrs. Doubtfire, Aladdin, Good Will Hunting, Good Morning, Vietnam. For decades, he was the loudest, most joyful energy in every room. Then on August 11, 2014, the world woke up to news it couldn't process. Robin Williams was gone, at 63. At his home in California, the silence that followed was unlike anything Hollywood had ever felt. Obama released a statement. Actors wept on camera. Social media turned dark. What made it even more heartbreaking was what came after. Doctors revealed he had been suffering from Lewy body dementia, a brutal disease that slowly destroys the brain. His wife, Susan Schneider, said his neurological condition was so severe it was the most widespread case his doctors had ever seen. The man who gave the world laughter was quietly falling apart inside, and none of us knew. 2. Philip Seymour Hoffman. If you want to understand what greatest actor of a generation looks like, watch Philip Seymour Hoffman for 5 minutes. He had an Oscar. He had the respect of every director in Hollywood. And he had a battle with addiction that he fought quietly for years. On February 2nd, 2014, his friend found him in his New York apartment, a needle still in his arm. Over 70 bags of heroin scattered in the room. He was 46 years old. He had 3 children. His youngest was 10. He had checked into rehab just months before. He seemed to be winning. He wasn't. At award ceremonies, when his name is mentioned today, there is always a pause. A specific kind of quiet. Because some empty chairs are louder than applause. 3. Cory Monteith. Finn Hudson on Glee was the boy next door. Warm, charming, the kind of character you rooted for from episode 1. Cory Monteith made him feel real, because in many ways, Cory was real. He had spoken openly about his struggles with drugs since his teenage years. He went to rehab in April 2013. His castmates cheered. His girlfriend and co-star Lea Michele stood by him. Then, on July 13, 2013, hotel staff in Vancouver found him in his room. He was 31 years old. Glee had to rewrite its entire season to mourn a character because the cast was already mourning a person. Lea Michele didn't speak publicly for months. When she finally did, she said she would love him forever. For Heath Ledger, he became the Joker. And then, he was gone. Forever. On January 22, 2008, Heath Ledger was found in his New York apartment. Prescription pills. An accidental overdose. He was 28 years old. The Dark Knight hadn't even released yet. The film came out 6 months later, and the world watched a performance that people still call the greatest villain portrayal in cinema history. He won the Oscar posthumously. His co-stars said he had kept a diary while playing the Joker, writing in character, thinking in character, living in character. Maybe he went too deep into the darkness. When his name was called at the Oscars, the entire audience stood. Not out of celebration, out of grief. 5. Brittany Murphy. She was 32 years old, and the world was still ahead of her. Brittany Murphy, known for Clueless, 8 Mile, and dozens of beloved roles, collapsed at her Los Angeles home on December 20, 2009. Pneumonia, anemia, prescription medication. But then 5 months later, her husband Simon Monjack died in the same house. The same cause of death. 2 people. Same home. Same diagnosis. Months apart. Investigators looked deeper. Toxicology reports were debated. Her mother pointed to possible toxic exposure in the home. A documentary was made. Questions were raised. The case was never fully resolved. Brittany Murphy didn't just leave behind a career. She left behind a mystery that Hollywood still hasn't answered. 6. Luke Perry Dylan McKay from Beverly Hills 90210 was the face of a generation. For every teenager who grew up in the 90s, Luke Perry wasn't just an actor. He was a feeling, a memory, an entire era of Friday nights. On February 27, 2019, he suffered a massive stroke at his home in California. He was rushed to the hospital, put on life support. His family gathered. The world waited. On March 4, 2019, he passed away. He was 52 years old. The people who cried weren't just fans of an actor. They were mourning their own youth. The version of themselves that sat in front of the TV at 16 and felt something for the first time. That's what Luke Perry took with him. 7. John Ritter didn't get a warning. On September 11, 2003, he was on the set of his show 8 Simple Rules, mid-production, laughing between takes. Then came the chest pain, then the ambulance. A few hours later, he was gone. 54 years old. The cause? Aortic dissection, a tear in the heart's main artery that kills before it announces itself. His co-stars were still on set when they heard. No one could believe it, because just hours before he was fine. He was laughing. John Ritter spent 30 years making America laugh, and he never stopped, not even on his last day of work. 8. Andy Whitfield. Most people outside of dedicated TV fans might not know this name. They should. Andy Whitfield played Spartacus in the Starz series, and he was extraordinary. Critics called him the next Russell Crowe. The show was a global hit. The future looked limitless. Then, in 2010, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Production paused. He fought. His wife Vashti documented the journey in a film called Be Here Now, about choosing to live even while dying. On September 11, 2011, he lost the fight. He was 36 years old. Andy Whitfield played a warrior on screen. He was a greater warrior off it. 9. Bob Crane. This one is different. Bob Crane, beloved star of Hogan's Heroes, was not taken by illness. He was murdered. On June 29, 1978, he was found bludgeoned to death in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment. He was 49 years old. A suspect was identified years later, a close associate named John Carpenter. Tried in 1994. Acquitted, the case was never officially solved. What made it even more tragic was the double life that emerged after his death, a secret world that shocked the fans who knew him as the charming, funny Colonel Hogan. Bob Crane spent years making audiences feel good. His final chapter gave them only questions. 10. Bernie Mac. He always said he'd make you laugh until it hurt. Bernie Mac kept that promise every single time. The Bernie Mac Show. The Ocean's 11 trilogy. Kings of comedy. He was one of the most naturally gifted comedians of his generation. In 2008, he was hospitalized for pneumonia complications. His team released statements saying he was recovering and in good spirits. On August 9, 2008, he was gone. He was 50 years old. Just days later, Isaac Hayes, another entertainment giant, also passed. Hollywood lost 2 legends in 1 week. Bernie Mac never got to see how much his legacy would grow. But every time someone watches The Bernie Mac Show and laughs until they cry, he's still in the room. Television doesn't just give us entertainment. It gives us people we feel like we know. Faces that were there on our worst days. Voices that made us feel less alone. And when they leave suddenly, without warning, it's not just a celebrity we mourn. It's a piece of our own story. If this video moved you, drop a comment below. Tell us which name hits you the hardest. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because stories like these deserve to be remembered.